Now, another thing that I want to touch on is comedian, superstar comedian. Can we say superstar comedian Kevin Hart? Is Kevin Hart a superstar comedian, first of all? Is he? I think he is. All right. So Kevin Hart's been catching some backlash over some comments that he made about Starbucks. Now, of course, Kevin Hart's from Philly, and we are very much aware of this Starbucks issue. The way that they handled the two gentlemen that went in Starbucks and said that they were waiting for a friend, didn't purchase anything, didn't want to leave because they were waiting for somebody. So while this is going on, the manager decides, whatever reason, to call the police. Now, two black guys, they called the police. If there had been two white ladies waiting for a friend, I don't think they would have called the police. I don't think it would have happened. But that's what happened to these guys. These guys end up getting arrested. There was a big hoopla about this. Now, a lot of people, superstars, and just regular people, just regular citizens, decided to try and organize a boycott. They want to really hold the coffee house Starbucks accountable. Now, I don't drink coffee, for the record, but I know a lot of people that do. And, when stuff like this happens, of course, you want some answers. Now, Kevin Hart has a spin on it. Now, every time that we get bad service, every time that something happens, even to this degree of somebody getting arrested, Kevin Hart seems to say maybe boycott is not necessarily the answer right off the bat. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad idea because, every situation, now, if this is a policy of Starbucks, then that makes sense. If this is their policy, then okay. But if this was the decision of the management at that time for them to do what he did, call the police and actually get these guys arrested, if that was the decision of the manager, then the manager should be held accountable. This is what Kevin Hart's saying, and I agree with him. Now, he's been getting some backlash on Black Twitter over the last couple days, this situation. And so let's look at some of these tweets that Kevin Hart said. So this is what was giving him so much trouble. Kevin Hart said, "Let's make one thing very clear. This is not a boycott at Starbucks situation. This is horrible management. The manager on duty was wrong. It's that simple. That's who needs to take responsibility for this wrongdoing." That's what Kevin Hart's saying. So he's saying don't hold Starbucks accountable as a company, as a staff, as a record label and a crew. He's saying don't hold the company accountable for the actions of management. Now, he continued because, needless to say, people weren't happy about that. There were some people that's on there that was really angry about it and calling them all types of sellouts and any other negative thing. So to respond to some of the negative energy he was getting, Kevin Hart said, "You obviously don't comprehend well. I asked Starbucks to make the situation right. I asked them to fix it. I said that the person on duty should have been held accountable." This is Kevin Hart responding to the backlash that he was getting. One person told Kevin Hart, "You're telling millions of people not to boycott Starbucks. They obviously don't care." So, Kevin Hart is somebody who is going to interact with people on social media. And he's playful, but he doesn't like when he's the butt of a joke. He likes to laugh at people. He likes to make other people laugh at other people, but he doesn't like to be the butt of a joke. And he also said, I also felt the company should have stood up and addressed the matter and made us feel comfortable in understanding that this was wrongdoing and would never happen again. They should have addressed the victims with an apology, etc. Now, the CEO was on Good Morning America and tried to plead his case this morning, and everybody wasn't exactly happy with that. Now, after seeing the interview, Kevin Hart said this really makes me sad. Starbucks had a platform and a real opportunity, Good Morning America, to fix the situation correctly by calling it exactly what it was, which was racial profiling / discrimination by the manager on duty. You failed, all caps. That person should have been fired. And he's referring to the manager. And last thing, well, I mean, it's not the last thing, but he said, I was simply saying not to boycott before seeing what the company was going to do. After watching the interview that the CEO of Starbucks did on Good Morning America, I feel that they failed in doing what they should have done. Now actions can be taken. Now, some people feel as though that's no surprise. We should have not expected anything other than that from them. But Kevin Hart catching hella backlash, Last thing he said, and I definitely taking time to read his tweets because I agree with what he's saying. The last thing that I will say on this matter is, before we jump out the gate with anger, sometimes it's okay to think first. How many people of color are employed by that company? How many families are being taken care of because of the income that's being provided by said company? That now I said he's catching hella backlash for these comments, but every time something happens doesn't mean we got to boycott. Sometimes it's about starting a conversation and holding people accountable, shining a light on them, putting the fire up under them, and then getting them to maybe change their ways or do something to make us feel that they see things from another perspective. Now, in other instances, boycott is what's necessary. If the company, and when we were talking about H&M, when we had the issue with H&M with the sweatshirts, when the company put the sweatshirts out, right? Company put the sweatshirts out, boycott is necessary in my opinion, okay? That was a company decision. Now, if an individual store does something, then that's the individual store. Now, if the company stands behind some racial profiling or some discrimination, then that's the time. So you need to think first. And I agree with Kevin Hart on this. I don't agree with everything that anybody says. I don't agree with everything that Kevin Hart does, but I agree with him on this subject here. I agree with him on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at The Diamond K Show, at RadioOnFire. Radio on Fire broadcasts reach over 278,000 viewers per month. You can advertise your product, service, or event on any Radio on Fire show by sponsoring an episode for as low as $50. Visit RadioOnFire.com/promo to get started. The brand new Radio on Fire Live app is available now for all Android devices. Watch us live in the studio on your cell phone or mobile device. Download the brand new Radio on Fire Live app in the Google Play Store. The iOS Apple version is coming soon.